Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of 28,000 members of ACTRA, the Alliance of Canadian Cinema, Television and Radio Artists. For 80 years, ACTRA has been representing professional performers across Canada who bring Canadian stories to life. We play a vital role in a nearly $14 billion industry that generates 250,000 jobs a year. But we have a major problem in Canada. We do not have enough Canadian production in this country because it's not financially supported. So when U.S. studio production comes to a halt here as a result of SAG-AFTRA and the WGA going on strike, we unnecessarily suffer the consequence. We need to be more than just a service industry to the U.S. We need ongoing Canadian production created by Canadians so we may continue to create a viable, sustainable, and remarkable Canadian film and television industry here, one that is not solely dependent on foreign investment for success, but rather that provides real incentive for Canadian creatives to stay. In addition, ACTRA has been shamefully locked out of commercial work for the last 541 days by union-busting advertising agencies who represent some of the wealthiest brands in Canada. Rogers, Wendy's, Canadian Tire, to name a few. These corporate giants boast record profits while refusing to pay minimum rates to ACTRA performers who helped build those brands. And with the introduction of commercial advertising on paid streaming services such as Netflix and Disney+, the fight for ACTRA to protect our jurisdiction is at a critical juncture. Even Canada Post, a Crown corporation, is producing non-union commercials, and my complaint to Minister Jean-Yves Duclos has gone unanswered. We have demanded the federal procurement policy be revised to forbid the use of scab labor, directly or indirectly, and we have the full support of the Canadian Labour Congress. In June, the federal government selects its next agency of record. Please ensure it is an agency like its current one that is not using replacement workers. In our written submission, we've proposed simple solutions to address these issues. I'd now like to hand things over to ACTRA's lead negotiator and National Executive Director, Marie Kelly.
Thank you, Eleanor. We commend the government for agreeing to review how artists can access employment insurance based on the Heritage Committee recommendations to strengthen the status of the Artist Act. We believe EI must be available to self-employed performers and that the first $15,000 of a performer's income should be tax-free. We also ask that artists be allowed to use 4-year income averaging due to the fluctuation of an artist's income. We agree wholeheartedly with the Heritage Committee that we need to strengthen the status of the Artist Act. This act is already Canadian policy, but without effective regulation, the policy becomes meaningless. Basic minimum rights developed over 80 years with the industry and ACTRA should be standard when funding is accessed. Telefilm and the Canadian Media Fund should be given direction that funding should be conditional on application of the basic minimums. We note the Heritage Committee agrees with us. There are 2 other urgent issues threatening the livelihood of performers. As performers and creative artists, ACTRA members' face, voice, performance is their product. They earn a living based on the licensed use of their personal brand. We're urging the government, and we know this is already before the Industry Committee, to protect these invaluable assets from misuse through artificial intelligence. As a union, ACTRA champions the concept of the 3 Cs. Consent, control, and compensation, which must support legislation to protect performers and govern AI. ACTRA members' likeness have already been exploited in deep fakes, some pornographic in nature, with absolutely zero consent. New legislation must include protections for performers to prevent the unauthorized replacement of human performances by AI technology. AI must evolve in a way that respects human inspiration, creativity, and ingenuity. In this new world of AI, it's more urgent than ever to resolve the inequities as well of the Copyright Act. Today, audiovisual performers, that's actors, need the same protections that are afforded to musicians under this legislation. Thank you, and we welcome your questions.